The sound you heard when that 47-foot putt dropped wasn't just applause. It was a collective gasp of an entire sport realizing the rules had just changed. Caitlin Clark, the name that became synonymous with shattered basketball records, had just walked onto a golf course and done something that wasn't supposed to be possible. She didn't just play around. She dismantled a world record that stood for years, sending a shockwave to the world of professional golf and leaving everyone asking one simple question. Are we witnessing the birth of the first true multi-sport phenomenon generation?
Next on the team, Caitlin Clark.
This wasn't a celebrity sighting. This was a surgical demonstration of talent from an athlete who is proving, in the most dramatic way possible, that her genius isn't confined to any one arena. The scorecard read 61, a number that officially etched her name into the history books. But the real story is what this moment reveals about the uncharted territory of modern athletic potential. If you're fascinated by what happens when true greatness refuses to be put in a box, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, because we're about to dive deep into the layers of this unbelievable story. The common narrative would be to call this a surprise. But for anyone who's followed the blueprint of Caitlin Clark's life, this moment was years in the making.
Thanks for coming our way. It just elevates this event in so many ways, and what Caitlin has done, not just on the court, but just in general for women and girls in sport, and such an inspiration and motivation. So, I really look forward to seeing your game.
Growing up in West Des Moines, her weekends were a split screen of athletic development. While the world would later know her for deep three-pointers, her father, Brant Clark, was quietly introducing her to the quiet intensity of the golf course long before she ever picked up a basketball. He wasn't just a weekend hacker. He was a dedicated golfer who understood the game's nuances, and he instilled in Caitlin not just a swing, but a philosophy. The driving range became her second home, a place where the repetitive motion of hitting buckets of balls mirrored the thousands of jump shots she'd hoist in a gym. She had a driver in her hands by age 10, and family friends recount a focus that was anything but casual. It was an intense, analytical gaze as she would dissect her own swing path and ball flight with maturity that stunned onlookers. It wasn't just about hitting a ball. It was about mastering the mechanics, battling the wind, and conquering the mental game, a solitary battle against self-doubt and pressure that few team sports can truly replicate. This foundational period is crucial to understanding her prowess. While other kids were specializing in one sport, Clark was cross-training her neural pathways. The spatial awareness needed to calculate a three-pointer from 30 feet is the same cognitive muscle used to read a 50-foot putt's break. The core stability and kinetic chain required for a powerful golf drive are directly transferable to the explosive motion of a basketball jumper. In a little-known interview from years ago, Clark herself gave us the clue, saying she loved golf because it was just you, the ball, and the wind. No shot clock, no defense, just focus. That statement is the key. It reveals the same obsessive, process-driven mindset that would later allow her to sink game-winning shots with millions watching. This was never a distraction from basketball. It was a parallel training ground for the exact mental toughness that would make her a legend. The discipline of walking a 4-hour round, of resetting after every single shot regardless of the last one's outcome, forged a mental fortitude that is now her trademark in clutch moments. This wasn't a hobby. It was a secret weapon in development, a second athletic language she was becoming fluent in, waiting for the moment to leave the entire world speechless. When she stepped onto first tee at the Annika Pro-Am, the expectations were set for a celebrity appearance. The crowd expected a few good shots, some photo opportunities, and the novelty of seeing a basketball star on the links. The script was written: be competent, be charming, and don't embarrass yourself. What they got, instead, was a systematic dismantling of those very expectations. From her very first practice swings, there was a palpable difference, a quiet confidence, and a technical purity that separated her from the typical celebrity participant. The sound of the club face meeting the ball was different. It was a crisp, powerful crack that signals pure contact, a sound that amateurs spend a lifetime chasing. By the end of the front nine, the atmosphere had shifted from polite interest to stunned silence, punctuated by murmurs of disbelief. On the 7th hole, a 347-yard par 4, Clark didn't just hit a good drive. She launched a 337-yard bomb that landed with precision and power that made the professionals in her group, including world number 1 Nelly Korda, stop in their tracks and exchange glances that said more than any commentator ever could. This wasn't a lucky hit. It was a display of coordinated athletic explosion. Commentators on site, their voices laced with disbelief, stated the obvious. That wasn't a basketball player's swing. That was the swing of a world-class golfer. The trajectory was perfect, a high, penetrating ball flight that fought the wind and found its target. The distance was elite, rivaling the averages on the LPGA Tour. And the control was something that can't be faked. It's forged through thousands of hours of repetition. But the true mic drop moment, the clip that would define the day and rocket across the internet, came on the back nine with that now legendary 47-foot birdie putt. The ball didn't just roll. It danced across the green, reading the subtle breaks like a seasoned caddy, curving like one of her signature logos from the basketball court, tracking perfectly into the heart of the cup. The eruption from the crowd was pure, unadulterated shock. Her playing partners were left laughing in sheer disbelief, a laughter born from the awe of witnessing the impossible. These are women who have dedicated their entire lives to the sport, who understand the microscopic margins of error at this level, and they were watching an amateur perform a level of calm precision that defied logic and challenged the very definition of a single sport athlete. The explosion happened almost instantly, within hours. The digital world was on fire. Clips of that monstrous drive and the epic putt ripped across TikTok, Instagram, and every major sports platform, creating a feedback loop of awe and speculation. ESPN broke into its programming, treating the golf round with the gravity of a breaking sports trade. Golf Channel led with the story for days, analyzing her swing frame by frame, as if she were a new tour prospect. But the most telling part of this viral storm wasn't the headlines from established media. It was the organic, grassroots explosion in the comments sections and the hard data that followed. The algorithm, indifferent to sport, recognized universal engagement and pushed her golf highlights to audiences who had never watched a single minute of LPGA coverage. Fans were writing things like, "First she breaks basketball, now she's coming for golf. Is there anything she can't do?" The comparisons to Tiger Woods and Steph Curry weren't just hyperbole. They were a collective consciousness struggling to contextualize what they had just seen, reaching for the only other athletes who had caused similar seismic shifts in their sports. And then the ultimate validation arrived, the seal of approval that separated a great story from a historic one. Tiger Woods himself posted online, acknowledging her round and writing, athleticism, and focus like that transcends sports. When the GOAT of golf, a man who redefined the game's very potential, publicly tips his cap, you've moved far beyond the realm of a novelty act. This endorsement from Woods wasn't just a tweet. It was a passing of the torch for cross-sport athletic relevance, signaling that Clark's performance was being taken seriously inside the most exclusive circles of sporting greatness. But the real impact, the kind that changes business models and future broadcast schedules, was just beginning to reveal itself in the cold, hard numbers. In the 48 hours following that record-breaking round, the data scientists at the LPGA and its broadcast partners witnessed something unprecedented. The LPGA's social media account saw an influx of over 300,000 new followers, a number that typically takes months of campaigning to achieve. The replay of the Annika Pro-Am on Golf Channel drew one of the highest viewership numbers in the event's history, rivaling rounds featuring the tour's biggest stars. But the real story, the one that has executives and marketers sitting up straight, was in the demographics. Analytics showed a massive, unprecedented surge of younger fans and women, many of whom explicitly stated in surveys and comments that they were tuning in specifically because of Caitlin Clark. This is a tangible, irrefutable proof of the Caitlin Clark effect. It's not just about her own star power. It's about her demonstrated ability to pull an entire new audience into a sport they had never previously engaged with, acting as a human portal to a new world. She doesn't just break records. She breaks market paradigms, transforming the cultural and commercial landscape of everything she touches. This phenomenon has been observed in the WNBA, where her arrival sparked a renaissance in ticket sales and TV ratings. But to see it instantly transfer to a completely different sport is what solidifies her status as a unique force in modern athletics. Local golf courses reported an increase in inquiries from young girls and their parents, a trickle-down effect that could reshape the pipeline of the sport for years to come. This is more than a moment. It's a movement, and it's proving that her value cannot be measured in points or trophies alone, but in the millions of new eyes she brings to the game. The respect that poured in from within the golf world was perhaps the most compelling evidence of her legitimate skill, moving beyond fan excitement to peer-level acknowledgement. Nelly Korda, the top-ranked player in the world in the face of the LPGA, didn't just offer a polite post-round compliment. She gave a detailed technical assessment, stating, "Caitlin's swing is pure. She's got rhythm, strength, and calm. I'm not saying she should turn pro, but honestly, she could compete." That's not a throwaway line for the cameras. That's a peer review from one of the best in the business. An analysis of mechanics and mentality that carries immense weight. The host of the event, the legendary Annika Sorenstam, a player with 72 LPGA wins whose name is synonymous with perfection in the sport, went even further, calling Clark's performance a masterclass in focus and adaptability. Think about those words, focus and adaptability. They are the core ingredients of her basketball dominance, and now they were being used by one of golf's most formidable minds to describe her golf game. This praise from Sorenstam is akin to Michael Jordan complimenting a baseball player's swing during his Birmingham Barons stint. It instantly legitimizes the endeavor. The basketball world took notice too, with icons like Sue Bird and Steph Curry, a renowned golfer himself who understands the grind of both sports, publicly acknowledging her feat. Curry didn't just comment. He actively invited her to his prestigious charity tournament, essentially welcoming her into the small, elite club of athletes who operate at the highest level in more than one arena. The walls between sports were crumbling in real time, not because of gimmicks, but because of demonstrable, awe-inspiring excellence that commands respect from the very best in both fields. And this is where the story moved from the golf course to the boardroom, where potential transforms into multi-million-dollar enterprise. Almost immediately after her round, rumors began to swirl from multiple sources within the golf industry: agents, marketing executives, and equipment reps. While nothing is officially confirmed, the chatter suggests that major golf equipment manufacturers are actively exploring partnership opportunities with Clark, seeing her not as a basketball player who golfs, but as a transcendent athletic figure. The potential is staggering. If these reports are accurate, Caitlin Clark could become the first athlete in history to simultaneously hold major endorsement deals in both professional basketball and professional golf. Imagine the commercials. Clark draining a deep three-pointer before seamlessly transitioning to a powerful drive off the tee, a visual representation of her unique athletic domain. This isn't just about slapping a logo on a bag. It's a recognition that her influence transcends a single sport, making her a unique and powerful ambassador for the very concept of athletic excellence. Brands are no longer just selling shoes or clubs. They're selling inspiration, and Clark embodies that more than any other athlete today. It represents a paradigm shift in athlete branding, moving away from narrow specialization and towards celebrating versatile, generational talent. A deal like this would shatter precedent and formally acknowledge what the world has just witnessed, that Caitlin Clark operates on a different plane, and the market is desperate to catch up. If you're enjoying this deep dive into how one athlete is changing the game on and off the court, make sure to show your support by liking this video and subscribing for more content that goes beyond the headlines. All of this leads to one inevitable and frankly shocking question. A question that would have been laughable just a few months ago, but now hangs in the air with serious weight. Change in conversation from what she did to what she could do. Could Caitlin Clark actually one day compete in a real LPGA event? Based on the evidence from the Annika Pro-Am, the answer is no longer a definitive no. We've moved past the realm of pure fantasy and into a fascinating, plausible debate about the upper limits of cross-sport athleticism. Her swing mechanics, as we've heard, have been praised by the best in the world. Not as good for a beginner, but as fundamentally pure and powerful. Her mental game is proven under the highest pressure imaginable, whether the sold-out NCAA championship game or a major golf tournament back nine. Her competitive drive is the stuff of legend, an internal fire that doesn't extinguish when she changes jerseys. But let's be specific about what competing truly means. The path wouldn't be a ceremonial sponsor's exemption. It would be the grueling, unglamorous path of Monday qualifiers, where dozens of talented golfers vie for a handful of spots in a tournament. It would require a level of dedication that goes far beyond an off-season hobby. Anonymous swing coaches and sport performance analysts have whispered that with dedicated, structured off-season training focused solely on golf, perhaps a 3 to 4 month intensive block, she could theoretically develop the consistent, tournament-ready game needed to compete at a qualifying level for certain events. This wouldn't be about winning the U.S. Women's Open. It would be about making a cut, proving she belongs on the same turf as the full-time professionals. The biggest challenge wouldn't be power or mentality. It would be the short game. The difference between a great Pro-Am round and making a living on tour is often found within 100 yards of the green, the delicate chip shots, the bunker saves, the lag putting under major pressure. This is where thousands of hours of specialized repetition create an almost unconscious mastery. Could Clark bridge that gap? Her performance suggests the learning curve for her is not a vertical cliff, but a steep hill she is uniquely equipped to climb. The idea is no longer science fiction. It's a tantalizing what if that adds an entirely new dimension to her career, creating a year-round narrative that would captivate the sports world. Would you watch Caitlin Clark tee it up against the world's best professional golfers? The market data, the fan engagement, and the sheer curiosity make it clear that millions and millions of people would. We're not just talking about golf fans. We're talking about basketball fans, sports casuals, and cultural observers who would tune in for the historical spectacle. The television ratings for such a qualifying attempt would be astronomical, potentially dwarfing the viewership of a standard tour event. Sponsors would be lining up, and the event would become a must-see moment, blurring the lines between sports in a way we haven't seen since Deion Sanders or Bo Jackson. It would be a testament to human potential, a live experiment answering whether elite athletic genius can truly be poured from one container into another. This question, now hanging in the air, ensures that every charity event, every off-season social media post of her on a golf course will be analyzed and scrutinized. The seed has been planted, and the world will be watching to see if it grows. What we are witnessing with Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon that redefines what we expect from a modern athlete. It's not just about being the best in one field. It's about possessing a transferable excellence, a championship DNA that doesn't recognize artificial boundaries between sports. She is breaking records, yes, but more importantly, she is breaking molds. From the basketball court to the WNBA to the manicured fairways of a championship golf course, her journey is a testament to a simple, powerful idea that true greatness is not a single destination, but a force of nature that can't be contained. If you want to follow every step of this unprecedented story, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because the next chapter of the Caitlin Clark phenomenon is guaranteed to be one you won't want to miss. Let us know in the comments what you think her next move should be. Thanks for watching.